Wasn't really funny at all. I didn't find any humor in this movie. I found it to be, like I said, off-putting in that way that it was just so much bashing and hate. Do we have to hate on everything these days? Why can't we just have a little bit of acceptance on all ends? And sure, you can poke fun. That's the fun of it all, but not to do this as a bash fest. What's up, everybody? Jim Alexander here with Real Talker, and today I am discussing and reviewing the much talked about, very popular Barbie. So let's take a brief look.
What do I have to do? You have to go to the real world. You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
You have to want to know, okay? Do it again.
Closer I am to find. Closer I am to find.
Okay. A lot's been talked about this film. It is breaking all sorts of box office records already. It might make $1 billion, probably will, worldwide. This is the most talked about movie going on of the summer, probably of the year. Everyone is talking Barbie. So why shouldn't I? So here I am. This might be unpopular, what I'm going to have to say later on about this movie, but I'm standing by it because I'm just not one to follow patterns and all that sort of things. So that's why I give the Real Talker review, right? Because it's real for me. Anyway, the movie, what is it about? I don't really freaking know, because this movie's all over the place in terms of plot and storyline. So Barbies are living in their Barbie world with Kens among them. There's multiple Kens, multiple Barbies, different races, different types, different careers. They all have unique jobs in their world, and it's very much like a toy world, imaginative world. But one day, Margaret Robbie, who seems to be the head Barbie or the Barbie, starts feeling some human elements about her. The imperfections are starting to show up. So she decides to seek out a weird Barbie, played by Kate McKinnon, who's always great at playing weird roles. And she's sent to the real world, Margot Robbie's Barbie. So she goes out to LA, of course, because that's where the real world's at. It might as well be Barbie world because it's LA, in itself. So that's not a look at America or the world, really, when you go to LA. It's as Barbie as it gets, right? And fictional when we talk about LA. But she goes into the real world. Ken joins her, and they start seeing what it's like to live in a real world. They experience the all-male Mattel executive team, and who are on the search for Barbie and to get her back into her plastic packaging and package her back to the Barbie world, and not roam the streets of LA there. And Barbie's exposed to humans and the way they view Barbie, and in particular, a girl and her mom. The mom's played by America Ferrera. And Barbie starts gaining perspective on what is really going on there in the real world, in the non-Barbie world, and what are humans like. And you can see misogyny and different characteristics that she becomes more human by doing that, by seeing the way these humans act. So that's definitely an aspect that kind of changes Barbie's thinking, and eventually, one thing leads to another. I don't care to describe the storyline much, really, because there is it's just a lot thrown at you, right? So I think I'm going to just get into my review and my thoughts on this film, because the storyline's kind of basic but also hard to explain in a weird way, because it doesn't have that particular sort of direction, right? And okay, so here are my thoughts. Let's go with that. First of all, the good, lot of cameos. You see Dua Lipa, John Cena, just a lot of who's appear in this movie, even if so for brief moments. Everyone's basically a Barbie or Ken in this film. But you do have there's an Alan also played by Michael Cera. He's the one kind of separate entity, and of course it would be also Will Ferrell playing a Mattel CEO executive. So those are sort of the non-Ken and Barbie characters here, aside from America Ferrera playing a real life mother named Gloria, and Ariana Greenblatt playing Sasha, her daughter. So that's the one that kind of changes everyone's Barbies in particular perspective on humanity. But other Barbies are Issa Rae, Kate McKinnon, Alexandra Shipp, Emma Mackey. There's just you have a Simu Lee, Simu Liu. Jeez, I forgot how to say this man's name, even though he's one of the biggest Marvel characters and stars. Simu plays Ken. Kingsley Ben-Adir plays Ken. Like I said, John Cena plays a Merryman Ken. There's just a lot of different cameos. So I think that's going to be satisfactory for moviegoers there. They get to see a lot of their favorite actors and just stars like Dua Lipa in the film. So that's a cool aspect of it. Everyone kind of makes an appearance there, even if it's just for a short while, but it's got a major star cast. Also, I enjoyed the look of the film. I thought the film looked great. It had a very Barbie-ish look and 3D sort of world. The colors were great. The pastels, the pink all over. I thought it was fantastic. The fluorescent colors, you can even see the way they're dressed here, Ken and Barbie, just very fitting to even the toys and that dreamy Barbie world. It really looked like that in that aspect. So I thought the set decoration, the set design, wardrobe, makeup were fantastic. They're the MVP sort of this film because they really made this world come alive and look dynamic as you'd imagine it to be in that context. So the look definitely lives up to it. I thought they couldn't have done a better job when it comes to that. And the feel of the film and what you'd imagine this Barbie world to be like, completely aced it, nailed it. The performances I thought were really good. Ryan Gosling playing this doofus Ken, sort of a egomaniac slash cocky slash just airheaded Ken. He was great. He was funny. He was self-deprecating without being unaware, being self-deprecating. I thought Gosling brought his A game, just sort of a flamboyant character, a character that just has no really awareness about him. So I think Gosling did a great job. Plus, he looks the part of a Ken. Who else would be playing Ken? Who's got that sort of, boyish looks and, very pretty man. And that's a compliment. Just a good looking guy. And Gosling, I thought that was a well cast. The hair, the blonde hair. He looked like a Ken doll, a human Ken doll. I don't know who else could really nail that part. Maybe Ryan Reynolds, but there's many actors out there who have the skills and the looks to get that part. I thought it was well cast for sure. Margot Robbie. I mean, who would you think of to play Barbie besides her? She is the look. She is the Barbie. She's got the talent. I mean, we know how good her acting chops are, and she does well playing this character who's a doll without feelings, genitals, anything, right? Just a plastic character here that really starts developing human emotions and empathy and feelings of doubt and sort of self-reflection, just showing a range of emotions, like when this character is changing from a doll to sort of experiencing human qualities and emotions. And I thought Robbie did a tremendous job with that. And she's just upbeat, and her smile sells the room. So I mean, these two as leads is absolutely perfect. And like I said, Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie, that's a great casting. Issa Rae is kind of the tough, independent President Barbie. I felt like it was cast. Simu playing the sort of a competitor Ken to Ryan Gosling's Ken. I like their little back and forth, macho display of competition between each other. Cast was really good. No complaints there at all. And I thought Margot Robbie and Gosling might be Oscar good with their performances, because they made plastic doll characters come to life, right? So literally. And I thought they need to be credited for that. Now, my problems with the movie. It stems with Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, the writers, and Gerwig, the director here. Look at this poster next to me, what it says. She's everything, he's just Ken. This movie didn't have to be what it is. I thought it was man hate. It was literally, there's things about you could do about poking fun at guys for being kind of douchey and airheaded, but not to base an entire plot and story of the film. I felt this message, and it wasn't independence and sort of girl power. It was guys are awful, and the Kens are the villains of this film. Like, really? They had initially the Mattel execs being sort of bad guys, being all male, kind of airheaded idiots, their 12-person committee board. But in reality, that's not even true, because if you look at Mattel, their committee's got like almost equal amount of women to men. Yeah, there's I think 7-5, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but 7 men, 5 women. But it's a board that has women, and as they should, especially for this brand. It probably should have more women than men actually on this board, because the brand is about women and for girls, and sort of that's what Barbie stemmed from for decades, right? And the portrayal here is already falsifying, right, the reality of the situation here. And it didn't have to be that, to find an easy way out. It just let's Ken bash, or let's male bash here, how bad they are, how they're holding down everyone. This movie didn't have to be that. I felt the decision to make this story and to plot to follow that was completely missed the mark. And it could have been so many different things. This movie could have been a doll who's experiencing life in the real world, and kind of, it should have been, what it really should have been probably is a coming of age movie, which are super popular. Everything's coming of age these days, but sort of a coming of age of Barbie, right, into this modern today's world, coming from this plastic world of everything being the same, sort of a makeshift world of just everything being aligned a certain way, and in a fake way. I forgot the right word for this world, but utopia, maybe. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I have the idea. I just can't get the word out, or for what world I'm thinking of here. Sort of Stepford Wives world, if you know what I mean there. And her coming to sort of getting a coming of age, realizing there's more to her, that she can be more, and the real world is ugly, but it's nice also, right? And to take away the good and the bad. But this was just make Ken's evil. They're the worst. They're holding us down, and let's revolt. They're making us into robots, basically, and servants. So let's get together and pretend we're mindless robots, so we can, fool them and then take over. Where's this hate, and where's this venom for men and the Kens in this world? This just unnecessary. Sure, you could poke fun that Ken's might be a little douchey, but Barbie and Ken, as the characters, as the toys, they were supposed to be together, right? They're a couple. Barbie goes with Ken, but here it just they wanting to separate that. They wanted the opposite. Ken is just trying to validate himself constantly to be good enough for Barbie, and she doesn't want a relationship with him or doesn't view him that way. And it just, why do we need to do that? It could have been a sort of a coming of age and a romantic love story of sorts too. There could have been so many iterations of this movie that just wouldn't be so negative and, in a sense, hateful, because I don't understand why this male bashing had to have been so much at the center of this film. And I don't think enough is being talked about. I think people are just kind of, putting it under the rug and just not seeing what really was here on screen. And I feel like, and yeah, you can hate me for that. I don't care, really. I'm just saying what I viewed from the film and my opinion and reaction to what I saw. And it was pretty startling, and it was pretty notable from the get-go that this was the mission, to just bring down the males in this film and the Kens in this film. And then sure, there's a moment later on that Barbie shows some remorse to Ken. Spoiler alert, most of you have seen it anyway. That she didn't take it, she took him for granted or didn't appreciate him, that he's more than just Barbie. Okay, that's a good message there, but it kind of falls flat when the whole movie is bashing, when you punching and knocking out, and then at the end, yeah, you stand someone up, but they're already punched up and beaten up. So does it matter that you gave him a hand to lift them up when you already knocked the crap out of them, throughout? I just felt that felt hollow at the end, that message that Ken doesn't need a Barbie in his life to be Ken, to discover Ken. If they went with that message earlier, there could have been a lot of coming of age sort of revelations for these characters, and it could have been a nice, sweet movie. I just thought this wasn't really funny at all. I didn't find any humor in this movie. I found it to be, like I said, off-putting in that way, that it was just so much bashing and hate. Do we have to hate on everything these days? Why can't we just have a little bit of acceptance on all ends? And sure, you can poke fun, that's the fun of it all, but not to do this as a bash fest. And I'm talking about many regards, right? But this movie felt like that to me. I just don't understand her purpose of why they decided to go this route. And it's a movie that was sort of ruined for me because of the plot. The plot didn't go anywhere. There was no really plot. Sure, there's some self-discovery, the real life. There's some empowering messages that would have been heard much better if it wasn't parallel to the, kind of hate. Why can't we have empowerment without hate, right? Can we just have empowerment to have empowerment in itself, and that be the central message instead of bashing at the same time? It's like, why do we do this in society? It's just like, we need to bring something down or bring someone down in order to rise ourselves up. And I feel like that was sort of the message here, and it doesn't have to be. You can rise yourself up without bringing someone or something down. And it was off-putting, and it's a movie that I did not like. I do appreciate the elements of it, like the acting, like the look and the work that went into this film to make it come alive. It did remind me, I wouldn't call it a ripoff, but it did had a very much, I don't know, homage, maybe. I'll go with that instead of ripoff, to Pee-wee's Playhouse. I feel like the world sort of kind of felt Pee-wee-ish, and we're talking here after the unfortunate passing of Paul Rubens. And I don't know if it was a ripoff or it was a homage, but I definitely felt a Pee-wee's Playhouse sort of vibe here, in this sort of the look and in this Barbie world. So I thought it was cool. It was a cool choice either way, whether it was a ripoff or a homage. I don't have any problems with that at all. I just thought it was interesting choice wise, but overall, just disappointed in how things ended up, really, with this film. So let's give it scores. acting, like I said, acting wise, we saw a lot of good acting by a lot of good actors, and I thought the leads made the best of what they could. When it comes to acting wise, I think this is pretty up there, for a movie of sorts, of this kind and genre of this kind. I'd give it movie wise like a 9.5 out of 10. I don't think there's any complaints about acting here. Um, the entertainment value, though, that's a whole different thing. So entertainment value wise, it could have been entertaining, but it wasn't because of the message of the film. So I feel like that brings things down a lot. And I just wasn't entertained by the jokes, even though the dance numbers were kind of cool at times and all sorts of things. But entertainment wise, I would just have to give it a 3 out of 10, because it missed on what it could have been. It's so much more than it was. And plot story. I thought this is the ultimate failure of this movie. Plot story just didn't hit home at all. Took it into one direction they probably should have not gone in, because it just didn't. There was no plot or real story here to this movie. It was just actions, right? So plot and story, I thought it was a failure. 1 out of 10 on that. Impression this movie made, I wish it made a better one on me. Apparently it's made a better one on a lot of people, but I think that's a lot of it has to do to marketing. I thought the marketing for this was absolutely A plus, outstanding, genius. I mean, all the Barbie pop-ups, and you go to Zara, they have like a whole Barbie section of clothes, and you just have Barbie all over Times Square. The promotion of it was nonstop, in your face. The promotion campaign is the real winner. This is why this movie's making so much money. I feel like a major portion of that is due to this crazy and successful marketing campaign. Probably one of the best marketing campaigns you will see is this movie. So I don't know how many people are talking about how great the movie was and the plot and all that, but the marketing campaign is what got them into the movie theater. So that's how they're getting the money right there. And that's not to be omitted there. But the impression this movie made in itself on me, like I said, I like certain things, the look of it and all, but overall, the impression just wasn't there because the story didn't match up. So 3 out of 10 on the impression. And creativity, I thought it was creative when they're looking at the set, and the look of the world too. Now, if we talk to terms of plot, yeah, they missed on the creativity there. But in terms of the look of that, they nailed it. So I'll give it a 5 out of 10 since it's kind of split. I got to give it for the look, but also for what the story was. And that wasn't creative, I don't think, at all, because it missed the mark. So there's that. It's a very movie with some high highs and some very low lows. So the score, when I tabulate it all, it's going to be pretty interesting here, because you just have a lot of elements going here, because I don't know if I can remember a movie that I saw that had some really good high highs. Like we're talking about, like I said here, Oscar worthy performances by Robbie and Gosling, and the look was just set design, like I said, top notch. But then it misses on so many levels too when it comes to the story and impression of it all. So yeah, it's just that's sort of a polarizing movie in that sorts. When I tabulate all the scores, the highs and lows, we get a 43% here for Barbie. So definitely had higher expectations for the plot and story. The actors delivered, but yeah, it's ultimately a disappointment for me. But it's making money. So, and I'll touch on this. The way they ended it, people are talking about a sequel. I don't know how you do a sequel unless you do a spin-off of one of the characters here. And yeah, spoiler alert, that Barbie finally gets to choose from her creator, the real life person. I think it's a cameo by the daughter of the founder and creator of Barbie, which is kind of cool. They actually had her there, if that was her. I need to double check, but that's what I heard. And well, Rhea Perlman plays the character, but I do believe there's a cameo, I think, at a bus stop where Margot Robbie talks to the daughter, I believe, of the creator of Barbie, an elderly woman there. I hope I'm right on that, but that's a cool cameo if that's the case. But Rhea Perlman plays the creator, the founder of Barbie, and she gives her a choice to stay in a Barbie world or go and live her life in a real world. And Barbie chooses to go live in a real world. So she's got her friend there, with that she made when she was visiting the real world. We had Gloria, who was played by America Ferrera, and Sasha Ariana Greenblatt. So those are her friends, and she kind of walks into an appointment, and she's at a gyno. So there's mention earlier in the film that Barbie and Ken don't have any genitals. So there it is. It's a gyno visit. It's a kind of a nice bow tie moment to end the film. I didn't mind that sort of ending at all, that she chooses to go to the real world, and then she has that little wink wink, gyno appointment that gives you a clue that she's fully human now, living in a real world, not in a Barbie world. But yeah, that sort of thing, when we get to that ending, it could have been done with a different storyline and a similar outcome had. So in terms of this storyline, I think that the final scenes were probably the best thing about the ending, but all that led up to it just failed in that aspect. So there's Barbie for you. Genius marketing campaign, a subpar storyline and plot that really, and a lot of hate. And I feel it was hate more so than just poking fun, because look at even the marketing. He's just Ken, minimizing Ken and I quote, the males here, and she's everything. Why can't everyone be everything? Why can't they both be everything? She's Ken, he's Barbie, they're everything, right? What's wrong with that? Why can't we have this sort of equal playing field here, with also the message of independence and female power, and all that could have been still done without the bashing. So I don't get it, but it's made a ton of movie. And like I said, the ending of it is kind of weird, because where do you go with that? She's in a real world now. Do you do a sequel with her in a real world? But what does that have to do with a doll then? It's just Barbie the human, right? So they put themselves in a pickle here in terms of what they could do with a sequel. I just only see a potential prequel. If that, I don't think it's necessary, because it's kind of sets the setting up from the get-go. Just delve into the toy world they're living in. I don't know what kind of prequel or origins they would have, unless you want to go back to do a story on the creator of Barbie. Maybe that could be like sort of a biopic slash sequel or prequel. But the only thing I could see here is a spinoff of one of the characters, a Ken movie. That's why you kind of hear stuff about Ken. But how would you do that movie when he was portrayed as such an unlikable character? Yeah, at the very end, he sort of finds his purpose potentially, or looks within that there is hope for a life without Barbie. But like, who wants to see that? The performance is great by Gosling, and he's a fun character, but when you did an off-putting character like that, who wants to see a solo movie about it? You could do it. There's many Barbies being introduced, maybe Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae's Barbie. There's a lot of Barbies and Kens featured here. So you could do some sort of spin-off without Margot Robbie, or just go back into the Barbie world without Barbie there, and use all these other characters that were established. I don't know what you do, but when it comes to Margot Robbie and Barbie, you've sort of hit a dead end, unless you want to do a movie of her in a real world. Because then why would she go back to a fake Barbie world when she was granted this wish of going to the real world, right? Even though we see the fourth wall sort of being stepped over, and you can cross between these portals basically of the real world and Barbie world. And by the way, I didn't care for the narration there also in the movie. So the movie was narrated at times, not at all times, but at times there's narration by Helen Mirren. She was kind of narrating certain points beginning and sort of some points in the middle. I just think that wasn't necessary, but it's Helen Mirren. She's got a great voice. But overall, yeah, that's my take. Might be controversial, but I feel like I had to say what I thought, and that's what I thought. So that's what it was. That's how it came off to me. But they've done well with it. Just what happens next, I wonder. But what happens next for you guys? Please subscribe. That will help out a lot if you click that subscribe button. Keep this channel running and have more reviews, controversial reviews, even though I'm not trying to make this a controversial review at all. I just know I'm going to get shit for it and people are going to be hating on it. Well, if that's the case, leave a comment. So if you completely disagree with me, maybe some agree, or you want to debate, leave the comments. I feel like this is a debatable film for sure. And everyone's got a comment and opinion, at least about that. So I guess that's somewhat successful. People are talking about it, right? And it gives you a reaction. Worst thing is having a movie with no reaction. But this one certainly gives you one way or the other. And if you like this, click that thumbs up button and like. You can also follow me on social media at the Jim Alexander on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and all the good places out there, Threads, I think. And same thing with at the Real Talker on the same media platforms. So until next time, until next review, I am out and I am getting out of this Barbie world.
It's Barbie, if you still in doubt.